Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike. This video shares about what might happen when a purple worm attacks a group of 3 characters in Dungeons & Dragons. A Path of the Wildheart Barbarian, an Oath of Devotion Paladin, and a Light Domain Cleric all are at level 8 using the rules in the 2024 Player's Handbook. The Purple Worm is a challenge rating 15 creature in the 2025 Monster Manual, offering a high difficulty of combat for 3 characters at level 11 or 12. As usual in the video text description, you can see the web links for the level 8 character sheets in D&D Beyond. These 3 characters are optimized in some, but not all of their aspects. They represent the kinds of characters that I expect in a campaign starting at level 1, and then making choices up through level 8. The human Path of the Wildheart Barbarian is named Anna Mall. She relies on her strength to solve problems, combined with her barbarian rage, reckless attack, and great weapon master feat. Anna Mall feels close with wildlife animals. She can adapt with most natural habitats, including the current desert region. She was wounded during a previous battle, now with only 22 of her total 101 hit points, yet healing options are available. The High Elf Oath of Devotion Paladin is named Vona Navan. She operates somewhat differently than might be expected with most paladins, due to her emphasis in her charisma score instead of in her strength score. Her weapon attacks cause not as much damage as a strength-based paladin, while her spellcasting and other features can be more effective. The human Light Domain Cleric is named Clara Cloudburn. She can access the usual healing and support spells of any cleric, plus she brings several damage-dealing spells such as True Strike, Spiritual Weapon, Spirit Guardians, Guiding Bolt, Scorching Ray, Fireball, and more. Defensively, the Light Cleric can use her Warding Flare feature, and she can cast the Shield spell if needed with her Magic Initiate feat. Leading up to this point, the Wildheart Barbarian Anna Mall was curious about what a mysterious figure was doing in this remote place. When she went to investigate, she saw the figure move into the ruins of a nearby arcane temple. In this moment, Anna Mall was ambushed by a hidden assailant who wielded psychic blades and made clever use of the surrounding environment. After a brief battle, the assailant escaped, while planting a magical gemstone device that emanated a pulsing vibration through the earth. At this time, the Wildheart Barbarian Anna Mall met face-to-face with 2 other characters who approached the scene and introduced themselves. The Oath of Devotion Paladin Vona Navan and the Light Domain Cleric Clara Cloudburn both are students at the Spellsword Academy, on a quest to complete their final test to graduate from the academy. Their quest involves finding the notorious draconic sorcerer, Sebastian Drake. In fact, Sebastian Drake is the same person who the barbarian had seen earlier, moving into the nearby ruins of an arcane temple. The magical gemstone device, planted by the ambusher during her escape, continues to produce a deep thumping through the ground. Each thumping beat grows slower and weaker. The energy probably will fade after another few minutes, but already it has attracted the attention of one of the gargantuan sandworms living beneath the ground in this part of the desert. The characters observe an enormous disturbance in the sand, showing the path of the giant worm approaching. Seeing that the barbarian has been wounded during her recent ambush encounter, the Light Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, casts Cure Wounds with a 4th level spell slot, providing 53 points of healing. The Devotion Paladin Vona Navan uses a bonus action with her Lay on Hands feature to provide another 20 points of healing. As her action, the Paladin casts Cure Wounds with a 1st level spell slot, adding another 9 points of healing for the Barbarian. The Wildheart Barbarian Anna Mall has been restored up to her full amount of 101 hit points. The Barbarian, the Paladin, and the Cleric brace themselves for a confrontation with the gargantuan sandworm. The worm erupts from the ground, screeching in anger. The sandworm uses the statistics of a purple worm in the 2025 Monster Manual. It is a challenge rating 15 creature that could be deadly for this group of 3 characters at level 8. All of the participants roll for initiative. The Wildheart Barbarian gains an extra bonus with her Alert feat, and she rolls with advantage due to her Feral Instinct feature, resulting in 23. The Paladin rolls 3. The Cleric rolls 18. The Purple Worm rolls 8. The Barbarian will act first, followed by the Cleric, then the Worm, and lastly the Paladin. In round 1, the Wildheart Barbarian Anna Mall uses her bonus action to enter into her rage. she chooses the bear option of her rage, gaining resistance to all damage types except for force, necrotic, psychic, and radiant. With her rage, Animal moves into melee contact with the worm. She makes 2 reckless attacks with advantage using her maul. The first reckless advantage attack is a natural 20 for a critical hit. With the regular damage plus the critical hit, the maul delivers a total of 25 bludgeoning damage. Due to the topple weapon mastery, the worm needs to roll for a constitution saving throw. With a result of 24, the worm is not toppled and knocked prone. The second reckless attack with the advantage results in 23, hitting against the worm's armor class of 18. The hit causes 15 bludgeoning damage. The worm makes another constitution saving throw to avoid being toppled. The result of 25 succeeds. The light domain cleric, Clara Cloudburn, summons a divine fire. She casts Fireball. The blast is positioned to affect only the worm. It generates 25 fire damage. The worm fails its dexterity saving throw. It suffers the full amount of the fireball damage. Clara Cloudburn decides against moving into another position with protective cover. She wants to stay here within close range of supporting her allies. The worm lunges to bite at the barbarian, with advantage due to the barbarian's prior reckless attack. The light cleric intervenes with her reaction of a warding flare. The barbarian gains 13 temporary hit points. Due to the warding flare, the worm rolls its bite attack with disadvantage, effectively canceling the advantage for a regular roll. The bite hits. It causes 26 piercing damage, reduced by half with the barbarian's resistance during her rage. The bite automatically grapples and restrains the barbarian. The worm lifts its tail stinger to attack the barbarian, again with advantage. A result of 28 hits. The stinger causes 18 piercing damage as well as 40 poison damage. The barbarian's damage resistance brings the total down to 29 damage. As a bonus action, the worm attempts to swallow the grappled and restrained barbarian. Anna Maul rolls a strength saving throw with advantage due to her barbarian rage. A result of 27 succeeds. The barbarian is not swallowed, but she still is grappled and restrained. The worm uses its burrow speed to burrow under the sands of the desert, bringing the barbarian along as well. The sands fill into the burrowed path, concealing the worm and the barbarian. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, considers what to do in this situation. As her action, she decides to ready to cast the spell Command whenever she will see the worm to appear. The command will be for the worm to drop the barbarian. The ready action requires for the paladin to use her reaction if the triggering event will occur. If the trigger will not occur, then the paladin still will lose the spell slot. In round 2, the Wildheart Barbarian, Anna Maul, starts her turn beneath the sands. She is grappled and restrained by the worm. The restrained condition imposes disadvantage on attack rolls, negating the advantage of the barbarian's reckless attack. Anna Maul makes 2 regular attacks with her maul. The first attack hits the worm. It causes 21 bludgeoning damage. While underground here, Anna Maul holds back with the topple weapon mastery. She hopes for the worm to burrow back up to the surface, bringing her along the way. The second attack with the maul is 14, missing against the worm's armor class of 18. Above the ground, the light domain cleric, Clara Cloudburn, follows the paladin's example with the ready action to cast a spell. Whenever the worm will breach the surface, then the light cleric will cast Fireball, aiming for a position above and behind the worm, hopefully not affecting the barbarian. Still beneath the ground, the worm bites with advantage at the grappled and restrained barbarian. The bite hits the target. It causes 16 piercing damage, reduced by half with the barbarian's damage resistance during her rage. While burrowing beneath the ground with loose sand, I imagine that the worm would meet difficulty with maneuvering its tail stinger to attack the barbarian. In this case, the worm moves upward, breaching the surface. When the worm appears in view, the paladin uses her reaction to complete her ready action with the command spell. She commands the worm to drop the barbarian. The worm rolls a wisdom saving throw. A result of 8 fails. The worm will need to expend the entirety of its next turn to obey this command and to do nothing else. Now the light cleric uses her reaction to complete her ready action, channeling divine fire while casting Fireball. The fireball is placed above and behind the worm without affecting the barbarian. The blast generates 22 fire damage. The worm fails the dexterity saving throw, suffering the full amount of the fireball damage. In response to this assault, the worm moves toward the light cleric, maneuvering its tail stinger to attack. A roll of 30 hits against the armor class of 17. The Tail Stinger produces 18 piercing damage, as well as 40 poison damage. The Light Cleric stands with only 17 of her total 75 hit points. As a bonus action, the worm attempts to swallow the grappled and restrained Barbarian. Anna Maul rolls a strength saving throw with advantage during her rage. A result of 26 succeeds. Anna Maul is not swallowed by the worm. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, moves into melee contact with the worm. As part of her attack action with her longsword, she activates her Sacred Weapon feature, adding her Charisma modifier to her attack rolls. The first attack of 20 hits against the worm's armor class of 18. It brings 11 slashing damage. It applies the Sap Weapon Mastery, imposing disadvantage on the worm's next attack roll. As a bonus action with this hit, the Paladin adds a Divine Smite with a second level spell slot. The Divine Smite produces 12 radiant damage. The Paladin makes her second attack. A roll of 12 misses against the worm's armor class of 18. Vona Navan calls out for the Barbarian to maintain her courage. The worm will drop her soon due to the previous command spell. Meanwhile, the worm appears to be suffering with the amount of damage so far. In round 3, the Wildheart Barbarian Anna Maul makes 2 reckless attacks with her maul. The advantage of the reckless attack once again is cancelled by the disadvantage of being restrained by the worm. The first attack roll of 15 misses. The second attack roll of 20 hits the worm. The maul inflicts 19 bludgeoning damage. The worm rolls a Constitution saving throw to avoid being toppled. A result of 17 succeeds. Yet the Barbarian notices a potential vulnerability if she can try again during her next turn. The Light Domain Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, begins her turn with a bonus action to cast Healing Word on herself with a second level spell slot. She regains 18 hit points, now standing with 35 of her total 75 hit points. Clara Cloudburn moves into melee contact with the worm. As her action, she casts the cantrip True Strike, filling her spear with divine radiance while making an attack roll. The attack hits the worm. It produces 16 radiant damage plus another 6 radiant damage with the Blessed Strikes feature. During its turn, the worm must obey the Paladin's prior command to drop the Barbarian. In this particular situation, the Barbarian falls about 10 feet. She rolls a dexterity saving throw with advantage due to her danger sense. A result of 12 succeeds. She lands on her feet without being knocked prone. The successful saving throw reduces 2 bludgeoning damage down to 1. The Barbarian's damage resistance feature does not reduce the damage lower than 1 point. After obeying the command to drop the Barbarian, the worm can do nothing else during its turn. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, proceeds with another 2 attacks using her Sacred Weapon Longsword. The first attack hits the worm. It causes 11 slashing damage. The sap will impose disadvantage on the worm's next attack roll. Once again, the Devotion Paladin uses a bonus action to apply a Divine Smite with a second level spell slot. The smite produces 10 radiant damage. The second attack roll of 15 misses against the worm's armor class of 18. The worm begins to panic with only 55 of its total 247 hit points remaining. In round 4, the Wildheart Barbarian Anna Maul attacks twice with her maul using her Rage and Reckless attack for advantage. The first attack hits the worm. It causes 17 bludgeoning damage. The worm rolls a Constitution saving throw to avoid being toppled. A result of 13 fails. The worm is toppled down into the prone condition. The second advantage attack with the maul hits once more, producing another 17 bludgeoning damage. The worm is now desperate, retaining only 21 of its total 247 hit points. The Light Domain Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, can notice that the worm is preparing to flee, yet the worm still is attracted to the thumping vibration of the gemstone device that had been planted here earlier. For the purposes of our story, I am allowing for Clara Cloudburn to disengage while the Paladin and the Barbarian keep close watch over the worm. The Light Cleric delivers the pulsating gemstone device to the worm. The worm consumes the device and its energy. Now satisfied, the worm departs into the desert. It burrows beneath the sands. The Barbarian, the Paladin, and the Cleric absorb a moment of relief and quiet among the ancient ruins. Nonetheless, another challenge still awaits them. The 3 adventurers share a goal to learn what the notorious draconic sorcerer, Sebastian Drake, is doing in this place. As far as they know, the draconic sorcerer entered into the ruins of a nearby arcane temple. they can ascertain that the sorcerer is working with the person who ambushed the barbarian earlier and planted the gemstone device to attract the giant worm. The three adventurers expect that they will need to face both of those foes, and perhaps they will meet additional challenges. Currently in a hidden position, the Soul Knife rogue, Gemma Bran, uses her Psychic Whispers feature to communicate telepathically with her ally, the Draconic Sorcerer. The rogue informs that the three adventurers are being weakened and slowed down. Soon the rogue will proceed with her next effort to prevent their progress and to protect the secrets of this ancient place. Inside the Arcane Temple, the Draconic Sorcerer, Sebastian Drake, reaches out to feel the ancient energy of the dragons who perished here long ago. Their life force seeped into this place. The Sorcerer begins the process of attunement with the draconic powers of the Arcane Temple. Soon, he will gain the powers of a dragon. Our story will continue in the next episodes of Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.